No borders. If I could predict, or if I could say what will be the best solution, for me it would be no borders. If there are no borders, then I think that everyone can pass free. There is no point for fences. There is no point to create differences between people and between humans.
It has been the biggest humanitarian crisis or the biggest, the biggest human movement of people since the end of the World War II. So it's obviously a moment that our society is going to remember, and I'm afraid that in a few years we are going to remember it with a bit of shame, because in my opinion what's happening is not, I know that for politicians and people in general it's not easy to accept, not easy to deal with it, but at the end it's about humans, and what's happening in Greece and in Europe in general, it's not positive at all for them and neither for us.
Greece is blamed for a lot, but I mean, it's just Greece cannot help to be the country which is on the seaside. So, I mean, it's actually the responsibility of the whole of Europe, and not just of Greece. And I heard Greece, that the last news I heard this morning is that potentially they will close all the borders in Europe. And I think this is really a problem, because what are all these people gonna do in Greece? I don't think Europe is full at all. Like, I know in Holland, for example, where I'm from, many people are scared for the refugees. So I wonder, people want to protect their borders because they want to protect their culture, they want to protect their welfare. But I wonder, what kind of culture is that to protect? Like a culture which is selfish, a culture which is greedy. I think it's very important to share our wealth in Holland and in Germany and other places in Europe. I think just the fact that how people are treated like sheep, kind of massive, always standing in the line, fences everywhere. They kind of lose their dignity, and I think this is something that the Greek government or European could change. I know it's really hard to host so many people in a country as Greece, but at least they can make it a bit more humane and
They do not know, they are not refugees, they're regarded as immigrants, their identity has changed totally, and they do not know if they are gonna go, if they're gonna cross the borders. They do not know anything. Their psychology changed totally, because when I faced those refugees at the port, they were taking their things and they were going. They were crossing the borders. Those people, they're getting a little bit crazy with the situation. Imagine, they took such a risk to travel through a boat, in a plastic boat from Turkey to the islands, and now they're coming here. They thought that they're gonna cross the borders, even if they know from their relatives that the borders are closed, they're risking it. They're crossing the sea. They're coming here from the islands to the Piraeus, and now they're in prison let's say, in a camp, and they are not regarded as refugees. Their identity is changing, and we are talking about another kind of people right now. We're not talking about refugees, we're talking about homeless. And we have to understand this. This is a new phenomenon. This is a new thing that we have to speak right now. They do not know, they don't have an idea what is the next day. They have to stay at the camp without any future. Or they cannot imagine their future. Before that situation, before the closing of the borders, they knew that they were going to cross from the port to Idomeni. They're going to Idomeni, they are crossing the borders, and somehow they're getting somewhere. Now they don't know.
One of the most important things is that they have to find a way to communicate. This is how our group helps them, because we just provide the language communication. And the next most important thing is that they need somebody to inform them how should they react for the future. They have so many questions, they don't know what to do, and they want somebody to show them which are the difficult paths, and they will follow them. I think these are the most important things when they arrive here in Greece.
Not so much health needs, because they have been covered those needs in the islands, the first health needs. I mean, so they're coming here a little bit like, okay, we overcome the first trauma from the boat. So now we have to solve to find solutions like food, like clothing, like maps, like information to carry on, how to get somewhere, how to get the ticket, from where to get the ticket, from where to buy the ticket, which bus to take in order to go to Idomeni, to the borders. So information, transport information, clothing, and food, I think, their main needs. And communication with their relatives, in order to tell them that I'm okay, I'm here, I'm in Greece, and I'm coming.
Metadresi group is also taking place in actions that they have to be part of the unaccompanied minors, because this is something that we usually see. It's not like that the refugees come always in part of families. There are also many times where very, very young children are traveling alone, and Metadresi takes care of these children. Yeah, they just help them to find a proper shelter. They take care of all the medical needs that these children may have, of the social services that the children can keep in contact with, and in very good some cases these children, they go back to their countries and their families. In other most difficult cases, they just stay here in Greece. We also try to put them in foster families. We try to educate them and let them be part of the Greek society.
In this humanitarian crisis, we can differentiate mainly two groups of people. First of all, we can identify the refugees themselves, which are people coming from Syria, Iraq, or Afghanistan. And apart from that, there are also the economic immigrants, which are these people who just leave their countries because they heard that at the moment borders are open, so they just try to enter Europe to get a better life in general, but they are not escaping from war, but from other reasons. And for the first ones, conditions are a bit better, because like at the moment in the border they only allowed Syrians, Iraqis and Afghans, which are like refugees. The other ones are not allowed to enter to the following country anymore.
Few of them are still regarded as refugees. The other people are regarded as immigrants. They do not have the same treatment as refugees. They are looking for asylum, and if they are caught up, then they're getting back to their country. If 20 days have passed, the asylum is seized and they have to go back to their countries. If they caught up walking free in the street, the police got them and they're taking them back to the camps, or they send them to their countries. They're not allowed anymore to be here or to cross the borders. They have to go back home. They have to go home.
The three main hotspots in this crisis are the islands themselves, Athens, which is the place where they arrived by boat, and then the Greek border with Macedonia, specifically a village called Idomeni. In Athens, in the Leonas camp, in there you could find people from everywhere. We found people from like North Africa, down like in the countries in Mid and Southern Africa, also people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Iran, while in the border mainly refugees were arriving there, because I guess that the other ones, once in Athens, they realized that they wouldn't be accepted. So maybe they just try to stay in Athens to get the asylum permit, or maybe they were just deported.
There are some people who decide to stay here in Greece. So these people, they will have a different future from the other ones who decide to move in different countries, or from the other ones that they decide to go back to their countries that they come from. But I think that the truth is, for all of them, they had such a great experience in their lives after this kind of journey, and the main truth for everybody is only one: everybody is looking for a better life. If they have war in their countries, they try to go far away from the war. If they don't have war but they have difficult situations with the government, they try to run away from that. So everybody is looking for a better life, and this is what we all people do every day in our lives. Yeah.
When I arrived in Idomeni camp, I was really shocked and surprised, because in theory, behind this camp there is the Greek government, also the European Union, UNHCR, which are like at the moment like super important organizations in our society, and apparently these are the organizations in charge of all this situation. But I got there and I saw that that investment there was almost zero. There's almost nothing in there. We arrived and there were not a few, but 2 or 3 plastic tents, huge tents full of beds inside. Also these mobile toilets. But apart from that, there was almost nothing. This camp was set up for receiving more or less 1,500 or 2,000 people, and they just kept arriving. The borders were closed, so yeah, people started sleeping on the floor. There are a few fields around the camp, so people started planting their tents in there if they have they had. If they hadn't, they were just sleeping on the floor. And yeah, I would say that the infrastructure in there is so bad and needs to improve a lot. Having into account that this situation is probably not gonna stop on the short term, there's a lot to do in there.
The idea is that they stay for 1 day and it's just a transit camp. So then they stay for a little bit when they come from the islands and from the south. They go to this camp in Idomeni, then they stay for a little bit and then they go to Macedonia and like further. But I think this is not happening anymore. Nowadays it seems like people, I spoke with a few people who stayed for a week and 5 days and the camp is not able to facilitate this, I think. So there's not enough food or tents to host these people, so it's kind of a problem. It's like a bottleneck, you know, like it's like everyone's stuck in Greece now and what are they gonna do? I really don't know. I wonder. I think this is a problem and the solution will be, I don't know, I really don't know. I worry about it because these people come to Europe with the idea like, okay, I'm Syrian or Afghan, I have access to Europe, and then they come here and it's like, nah, we changed the law.
I think that the Greek government tried to do some very good moves, trying to find a solution for this problem, but there are also many needs in cases how the Greek government should organize and take care of the first necessities of the refugees. And there are some small black holes in the actions that they take.
In Idomeni, there are also a few organizations working in the camp, but in there I could clearly perceive that the volunteers movement, the grassroots movement is much bigger because there is a huge movement of volunteers who take care of clothes, who take care of food, who take care of children entertaining, and it's amazing the job that these people is doing there. This group, which is called Aid Delivery Mission, came here to deliver food to feed people which were not in the camp itself but in other parts. They considered that in the camp, in Idomeni camp, there was already a kitchen, so they came there to deliver food to one of the gas stations which is near from the camp, and there's usually people waiting there, and also to feed like illegal immigrants whose permission to cross the border were denied, so they try to enter Europe through the forest, like illegally. So they just go to the forest, investigate their route, and they find them and feed them and also give them clothes.
I go every day to the forest, a place where a lot of people are who are not welcome in the camps, and so we make sure that they have what they need. And I like this a lot because it's 2 times a day and it's not so big. It's like not so many people as in the camp or in other places.
But yeah, after a few days the camp started getting crowded and the kitchen from there wasn't able to feed everyone, so they started like delivering in the camp itself. This movement started in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. There was like a social kitchen, a group of people who were cooking and delivering food for homeless people, immigrants, and these groups. But then when this humanitarian crisis started, they decided to move to Greece, and they established in that village, and now they are cooking for, depends on the day, but for 4,000, 6,000, maybe 10,000 people daily.
I think every day maybe they cook for a few thousand people, but it always depends on the situation. So also on the changes of policies and politics and da. So it depends on how many refugees are arriving from Samos or from the islands, from Lesbos. Depending on that, every day it's different. I think the camp is kind of a sad scenario. It looks really white and boring and sad and like frustrating to be there. Not a very nice place. So if we can work together with the NGOs, we have more access and we can change from within the camp. I think that is really cool, but it's also very good to keep independence, to be able to do our own thing.
It was really curious because the day when we arrived there, it was mid-February more or less, and we arrived at the camp and there was like almost no one. There were more people from the organizations than refugees themselves, and we could perceive in approximately 2 weeks the camp getting crowded from 50 people maybe to 8,000. And this happened because in mid-January there was this NATO boats in the Aegean Sea. Like there were the ships controlling like the flow of immigrants, and they were trying them not to enter the islands. So during these days the flow of people getting there considerably reduced, and this also depends on what these people hear. If they hear that the borders are closed, maybe they just stay in Athens. If they hear that they are open, they just get a bus ticket and drive through the border. What I have seen there is that the situation can change really fast daily, depending on the decision of one of the European countries' government. A normal day in Idomeni can completely change.
The authority does not want to change its opinion to open the borders, because also the other countries do not want to open the borders. So we have, what is the situation? People are getting here freely, immigrants or refugees are getting here freely, nobody controls that, and they're getting more and more people here. So someone has to take responsibility and do something about that. First of all, not to transfer the immigrants or refugees through plastic boats, because this is under the control and the eye control of Turkey and Greek authority. Those two authorities have to cooperate and find a way to to ease the whole trauma of those people.
I think Turkey is supposed to keep their protect their borders so that no one can actually even leave Turkey, which would mean that Turkey is like the main, that all the refugees are supposed to have Turkey as their destination, but and I believe that Europe is giving them a bit of money and privileges for them to take this job of welcoming all these refugees in their country and facilitate it, but I think that is really impossible because Turkey is also a not very wealthy country and has a lot of dirty politics going on. And another thing that frustrates me is that Europe is kind of it talks about the refugee crisis, but the actual crisis is the situation that the refugees are in. The crisis is happening in Syria, in Iraq and Afghanistan. and it's actually caused by European governments. So it's kind of like, first we make a lot of mess there, and then we don't want to clean up, you know? It's like pretty sad. And I think Turkey, I don't really trust Turkey, so giving them privileges and money to then solve the problem, I don't think it's gonna work, no.
For the immigrants and the refugees that are coming here, when they went abroad and they crossed the borders, they faced a very strict situation. And they thought that they're gonna be like, I mean, as we answered them back, they thought that they have a nice and kind situation there. The messages that are coming from the known people that they have gone on reach some places, maybe they are not so good. They, for example, they want to give them €1 per hour. I heard something like that.
Where?
In Germany. You can, maybe this is extraordinary, but if it's not €1, it's gonna be €5. You cannot survive with €5.
As far it concerns the people here in Greece, I think that they are very, very united and very, very warm. So as individuals, the majority of the people had a big welcome for all the refugees, and everybody was trying to fulfill their needs. But it is also true that we had to face a lot of financial crises and many things that were changing, not only in the government but also in our society. But the main idea that I have is that first of all, we try to have warm feelings about these people, and this is the best thing that we can do.
I really don't understand why the media makes it look like this just young men who are dangerous, and like, I really don't know where they even got this story from, because I've met mostly kids and families and really even all kinds of people. So I really don't understand. It's really annoying, I think, because it's not true. This image of, I think this event in Germany that in Cologne, where supposedly all these women were raped by this big group, that is very much blown up by the media. And of course, for media, it's very nice to make a sensational story out of this. But really, the people I've seen are mostly kids and very normal young men or other kind of men. Just men like in any other country, so nothing to be afraid of. Maybe the Europeans are more people to be afraid of. But yeah, there's so many kids, so it's quite harmless, I guess. Yeah.
It is very difficult for me to answer about the actions that other European countries take in order to solve this problem, but it's not always about the money, as they say, and I think that more help from other European countries should be very necessary for the Greek situation that we have to face every day. I think they should help more, and it's not about the money.
From what I have seen in there is that the Greek government, sometimes people can think that they are just welcoming refugees, but the reality is that they don't like them to be in their country, but they have no choice. They arrive through a boat, they arrive to the Greek islands, and then they enter the country, and yeah, the Greek government can do nothing with that. They cannot forbid them to enter, but once inside, they just want them to leave. But they cannot, because most of the European borders are closed. There was a moment when the Austrian national government decided that Afghan people, they could not they could not be considered refugees themselves, but immigrants. So these people were not allowed to cross the border anymore. So that means that if the Austrian government decides that and close the border for African peoples, all the countries before Austria in the Balkans route are gonna do the same. But people will just keep entering Greece. And that's, for some people it can be like a Greek government's problem, but the truth is that it's an European country in general.
I guess maybe not so much in the media, or maybe it's not much, but obviously these people are not gonna dissolve or disappear, you know. These people are here in these camps and stranded in Greece, and they are here, and that's not gonna, even if maybe it's now, it might become a boring topic for a newspaper, but it's still there, and these people might disappear in the reception centers, but they are definitely, I think it will take a while before every single refugee found the safety zone and a new life, a new home where they can settle and start a new life. I think that will take a while. Yeah.
Oh, I feel so helpless. I cannot predict anything. And sometimes I feel very sad because I think that all this tragedy is never ending. I wish it will end sometime, but I cannot predict it. I really wish it will end tomorrow. And I will not have job here. I don't care about that. Yeah. But I really wish for the best, but I cannot predict. No, I think that the situation is difficult, and maybe it will keep going on like this. I have no idea when will this end. Yeah.
I think like the politics are the voice, are representing the people, you know. So the politicians are representing what the people want, you know. They are the demand of the people of the country. They will represent that. So individuals in Western Europe who could potentially host all these refugees are the ones to change their attitude and their ideas. And like the war in Syria, I think, is also kind of like something that we had something to do with, or I don't know how exactly, but so I think if many individuals would change their ideas a little bit and be more welcoming and willing to share, then this would be politicians who actually have a big voice in the policies would change in a positive way.
During my days in there, I just kept talking to people, and mostly to Greek people or people from the NGOs working there. And when I asked them about what's next, they told me that they are planning to have these camps operating not for months but for years. And this means that anyone can predict a short-term solution. But in my opinion, I would say that you can invest in camps, you can invest in welcoming these people, but the real problem, the root problem, is the war that they have in their countries. And I guess that while this war continues, they won't stop coming.